So Pfizer has the final results on its COVID antiviral pill coming in the same as their interim results, 89% reduction in the risk of hospitalization or death when given within 3 days of symptoms to high-risk patients. It was 88% when given within 5 days, which actually was a little bit higher than the interim result they had. There were no deaths among people who took the drug versus 12 on placebo. And these data are really important because Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, told us the FDA was waiting for the final results from Pfizer after they saw Merck's go down so much between the interim and the final. The company also, for the first time, putting out new data from a trial in standard risk people, so folks who don't have a risk factor for severe disease with COVID. So this was a trial that included unvaccinated adults at standard risk, as well as some vaccinated high-risk adults. It missed its primary goal, which was alleviation of 4 straight days of symptoms, but it showed it reduced hospitalization risk in these folks by 70%. Also, both studies showed a 10-fold decrease in viral load at 5 days. So Albert Bourla is saying here in the release, quote, "This underscores the treatment candidate's potential to save the lives of patients around the world." And guys, they're reiterating they believe this should work against Omicron, so could be a really helpful tool as we have this emerging new variant. Very encouraging to see there was not a big change for Pfizer's study after we saw Merck's results go from about a 50% reduction in that hospitalization or death risk down to 30% in the final results. Guys?
Wow. Guess all we're missing is the Omicron. They hope, and it should. It has nothing to do with the spike protein where the mutations are. So you would assume it would work just as well. And but you make the key point, Meg, about I guess people were worried there could have been a disappointment in the final results because of what we saw with the Merck offering. That's a totally different mechanism.
Yeah, that was totally different mechanism, but that was something that the FDA Advisory Committee really focused on a lot because the interim results looked so strong and then it went down so significantly trying to understand the differences in the trial. And so, we have not seen the FDA act on Merck's drug yet. That Advisory Committee meeting was November 30th. It was 2 weeks ago. So we've been kind of waiting to see what the FDA will do. They haven't announced an Advisory Committee meeting for Pfizer. So will they just clear the drug as they analyze these new data? We'll have to see. On the Omicron specific part of this, they do have some sort of test tube data suggesting this should hold up against Omicron. So the data are stacking up well there.
Meg, can you just explain the distinction between the 89% number and the 70% number?
Yeah, so there were 2 separate trials. The 89% number was in folks who have risk factors for severe disease. So in that trial, you saw more folks potentially go to the hospital compared with people who are on the drug. In the other trial, the 70%, that was folks who are unvaccinated and who are at standard risk, so didn't have high risk factors for severe disease, or people who were vaccinated but did have high risk factors. There, the difference between placebo and drug was slightly less, but still significant at 70%.